Everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, intuitive astrologer, and empowerment coach. And today is February 9th, 2022. And we are headed into Valentine's Day, a holiday that many people in relationship or not in relationship loathe, and some people look very forward to it. So what I thought I would do today is I would do a pick a card reading. So what I'm going to do is 3 different spreads. I'm going to use my normal angel deck. I'm going to use the Legend of Avalon, and then I'm going to add a traditional tarot card to each position to get further detail. What you're going to do is you're going to allow your intuition to lead you to which spread will be most appropriate for you and the question that you pose. And let's just visit that for a minute, the question that you pose. The most effective way to use any tool, divining tool, is to ask Spirit how you can be most influential for the outcome that you would like to experience. Things aren't really happening to us. I believe that as intuitives, we see a momentum of energy based on your beliefs. Your beliefs then dictate your actions, and your actions dictate your experience. So this happens a lot in love and we don't realize it. So when you're posing your question, I think it's going to be most effective for you and most enlightening for you to, in some way, ask Spirit how you can contribute to the co-creation of this love dynamic. I'm going to put it that way. Now, there's something else I wanted to chat about before I get to the readings. You know, lots of times we do vision boards and we focus in a lot about love. And in my experience of working with people who are seeking love, there's oftentimes an impatience during the getting to know you process. It's sort of like people meet each other and they visually find it an appealing thing, and then they just want to launch onto the road of relationship. And I don't think what they realize is that from the onset, from the very minute you meet someone and you see that spark or you feel that spark, you've started a relationship. And not only are you teaching them who you are inadvertently triggering every vulnerability you ever had. When it comes to love, which is ruled by the moon, there is a constant ebb and a flow. There is no set destination. So you could say, oh, I want to get married, I want to have children, and that's fine. But when you embark upon an intimate relationship, you're going to take your issues, the other person's issues, and then you're going to walk through those experiences with them. So while you are in the getting to know you process, the first meeting, the first time when communication lags, it's really important for you to think about not only how is the other person showing up, but what am I basing my decisions on in wanting to move forward with this person. I also think it's important to think about the grace that we give somebody during the getting to know you process. Oftentimes, especially in these modern days of technology, it's very easy to disappear on somebody. And everybody, I don't care how old you are, gets triggered by that. The minute that phone call, that text, that communication does not come in a time frame that they think it should come in, if you're interested in me, problems start. So what I want to throw out on the table is, what if, rather than immediately going to the thought that you're being rejected or ghosted or replaced or whatever that negative story is you tell yourself, what if you decide, I'm going to teach this person something about what I do when they're not around, how I take care of myself, how I value myself. There's so much wanting and so much looking for completion within an intimate relationship. And that person is as flawed, if not more flawed than you are, and as incapable of giving you what you can't give yourself, as they are of not being able to give to themselves what they need. I know it sounds really annoying, but the most successful relationships are the ones that have a certain amount of individual fulfillment. And then they bring that individual fulfillment into the relationship. I bring all this up because we're in the year 2022, February 2022. A lot of people are going to go into a really, maybe a dramatic place if they're not, if you think about the exasperation of the isolation of COVID, and then being single on Valentine's Day is already a trigger for a lot of people. It can be very exasperating into this loneliness, into this feeling that things are dismal, that it's never going to work out, that you're never going to meet that person. I want you to start to contemplate how much time you spend doing that. And are you bringing all that vibration into the next encounter with somebody that by the time you meet them, you're so teed up that you put all your cards on that person and before you've even gotten to know them? I think these things need to be really thought about. Venus is in Capricorn right now, not her favorite place. It rules authority, it rules government, it rules structure, it rules button-up shirts and sort of cameo brooches and things that feel a little bit stiff. And I think Venus also rules our history. And Venus and Mars are going to be at the 15th degree on Valentine's Day, conjoined, meaning they're going to be sitting next to each other. Venus ruling women, Mars ruling men, as the book goes. So I would like to charge each one of you as you go into this pick a card reading, asking yourself, how do I want to be as a partner? If indeed I want a kind person as a partner, can I show kindness not only to them, but in my own thoughts about my value if for some reason they get triggered and they slow down, back up, put you in a fear bubble? If you look at every romantic comedy ever made since the movies were started, the couple meets, they get to know each other, they foster each other's dreams, they make each other feel like they can do anything. And that's the big lie, because if you don't bring that to the table, you've already got a challenge. But what we usually will see are two people that have been written in ways that they do have fulfillment as individuals. And then an outside source comes in and creates an obstacle. And then that obstacle has to be overcome in order for our lovers to ride off into that happy ending, AKA happy new beginning. So during this month during Valentine's Day, the month of February, the year of 2022, I would like you to think about, what kind of partner are you to yourself? Do you believe in yourself in such a way that you allow yourself to be flawed? Do you believe in yourself enough that says, during a difficult moment in a relationship I'd had hoped for or promised in, can I have kind thoughts about myself and about the other person? And could there be something going on that I have no idea about? I've seen so much lately where the person who wants to be in a relationship is impatient with the journey. I want that title. I want that marker. And being on this side of those markers, being of a certain age, I understand how important the character, integrity, kindness, compassion is of the two people coming into the situation. So I really would like you to contemplate these things and think about them, because I think the most important question you can ask yourself this week, this month, as you either nurture a seasoned relationship or embark upon a new relationship or invite in a new relationship, what kind of partner am I willing to be regardless of how the other person shows up? Because if the laws of attraction are true, and they are, then the more you show up as the partner you want to receive, yeah, you may get a little static and some people may come and go in the beginning as the dust settles, but you will draw in that partner. the partner that's in that romantic movie, the partner that sees you and values you and demonstrates that. So I'm just saying. All right, let's start. We're going to do 3 readings. You're going to have an opportunity to pick reading 1, 2, or 3. I will put the timestamps in the comment section. So, well, let's just start. We're going to pull, as I said, a card from the tarot deck, a card from Messages from Your Angels by Doreen Virtue, and a card from the Legend of Avalon for each position. The first position represents the foundation, where you sit, what's going on. The second position represents the opportunity and or the obstacle. 1 coin, 2 sides. Every opportunity has an inherent obstacle, and every obstacle has an inherent opportunity, hence the second act of our romantic movie. The third position represents our angel's advice, how to get around that obstacle, how to take advantage of that opportunity. And the final position represents the potential outcome, depending upon the choices you make through your obstacles and your opportunities. So card reading number 1, focused on love, intimate love, Valentine's Day, which is in the sign of Aquarius, which I think is so interesting because it's such an individual sign. Okay, I'm going to look at these all at once as I pull them. I don't usually use 3 decks. I'm getting my bearings here. Okay, for those of you that were intuitively pulled to pick angel reading number 1 in the foundational position, this is lovely, is first we have the 10 of Cups. I think you can feel the vibration of this. It's very joyous. It's very happy. It represents the mutable sign of Pisces and the joy of happy home and hearth and children. Here we have Maya, the angel of schooling and education, and then we have the High Priestess. This is very, very Piscean in some ways, very Neptunian, which is Pisces rules. So right now, the people that picked angel reading number 1 for their love life are getting an opportunity to learn how to sit in their intuitive body and to call upon the laws of attraction as well as the law of allowing to experience their highest and greatest joy. And I want to offer it this way because as you experience your joy, it's the most unselfish thing you can do as a human, because humans are trained to be afraid of joy. They're afraid if something great happens, the rug is going to get pulled out from underneath them, the shoe is going to drop, the Grim Reaper is going to show up, something bad will happen. So I really want to offer you keeping your eye on the prize. This is the kind of like when you do a vision board, really paying attention to how much joy you're sitting in rather than how much wanting and desire and almost lack of belief as you put those things on the vision board or contemplate your love life. Because in the opportunity or the obstacle, so interesting, is Yvonne, my angel of vulnerability. I always think of her as being vulnerable, and there's nothing more vulnerable than love. But I want to offer it this way because I think that this particular reading could be for people who want to experience love, and your perception, your thoughts have an opportunity to be victorious when they are focused. And they're focused in on the idea that I am vulnerable to the idea of love. And it's not just meeting the love, but the quality and characteristics of the relationship, because that's how we're going to get over here. Now we go into the angel's advice and we see Astera saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and your desires. Then we have the eagle, which represents the connection to the angelic realm. And now we have a card that can represent divorce, loss, sorrow, being the 5 of Cups. This is not in the physical experience. This is an emotional dynamic that spirit is telling you. Are you focused in on what you have? Are you reaching for the stars with your dreams and your desires? Do you trust a bigger picture of your own soul's contract for love? Or are you just focused on what has been lost? Because again, we go back to the idea that the vulnerability is not just the vulnerability of somebody new being attracted to us, but that our history will not repeat itself. And this is where we really take the bull by the horns, where we really enlist Maya's help to not only educate us, but to experientially educate us so that we can anchor that into the real world. Words don't really teach, experience teaches. So sometimes when we say to spirit, I want a loving person in my life. I want someone who appreciates me. I want someone who speaks of me with reverence and kindness when I'm not around. If you're dating somebody who doesn't do that, sayonara, sucker, he's gone, she's gone. And don't cry about it, because it's time to reach for the stars bravely with what you really want, which is why I started this video talking about what kind of partner are you willing to be? Be the partner you want to receive. I'm kind of stealing a little bit of Gandhi's Be the Change. But if you believe in the laws of attraction, even one iota, if you've ever put an intention out to get a parking space and you got one, then this is a perfect opportunity to implement that tool into this genre of your life. Because in the final position is, first we have Archangel Gabriel talking about your thoughts again, talking about your self-talk and how you're indecisive on some level. You may be of such an age where you don't believe in love anymore. You think the ship has sailed. You think your eggs have died. You think your money's going to run out. But this is the big lie. So here we see this Two of Swords kind of representing the energy of Libra. You know, we can see the balance here. We can see the air sign of having to really think about, because this is where I want to go with this. For those of you that picked angel reading number 1, when you start to feel insecure, then if you go into truly being balanced in your heart and sort of blindly, balanced, then you'll realize that anybody you've been with before was not the right person for you. And in some ways, it's a learning curve. It's not just a learning curve about how to find a person to be in partnership with, but how to be the partner that you crave to meet. You cannot expect another person to be something you're not willing to be. So I go to this because I really think that Maya wants you to concentrate on the elements of what make you happy, what makes you feel connected. We see partners in our lives that, and sometimes they're a little bit older because they've gone through the unconscious partnership, and then they get to the place where they realize that it's more about compatibility and complementing than completing. Okay, let's go on to angel reading number 2. Again, these are love readings specifically for Valentine's Day and the month of February 2022. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are like, I want to get married in 2022. I want to get married on 2/22/22. I bet the courthouse has a lot of unexpected elopements. Elopements? Is that a word? I'm not sure. Okay. All right. Angel love reading number 2. Okay. For those of you that picked angel reading, angel love reading, number 2, we have the death card, which is about transformation. We have the Isabella, the angel that says, yes, the timing is right. And then we have the 7 of Cups. The 7 of Cups is an interesting card because it's really stepping into the unknown. If you look at the character, he's kind of in the dark, and every single opportunity is a double-edged sword in some way. So I think it's really about looking at your opportunities. It's maybe about looking at things that are going to put the responsibility of your love life in your own hands. There's a little something here when I look at these cards that makes me feel like I see the victory wreath, and yet I see the death, the skull here. I see the jewels, and then there's this feeling of emptiness underneath it. There's something about this that makes me feel like I sort of have to start to really look at the idea that in order to be happy in my love life, there are things that will reveal themselves throughout time, but there's also always going to be a double-edged sword. Everybody has the good news, bad news kind of thing. Nobody's perfect. And the more you get to know somebody, the more their humanness supersedes the courtship energy. And I want to offer it this way because I think what Spirit is saying, and I don't know what the other cards are, I haven't turned them over yet, but I think this is really about kind of looking at the bag of bones and deciding what kind of bag of bones you want to be in. If you start to date somebody or entertain somebody who has an issue with drugs and alcohol, that is going to be in your life, whether they're sober or not. It's going to be a theme. If you date somebody who is really focused on material gain, you're going to probably live a certain amount of financial affluence, but they may not be available at all the time to go to events because they're working. So I think what Spirit is saying for those of you that picked angel love reading number 2 is time to start to really think about what is the type of relationship that you want and what concessions, compromises, and how you can be kind about those things so the other person doesn't end up feeling, I don't know, sometimes, they say familiarity breeds contempt. So in the opportunity or the obstacle, oh, this is lovely. We have the Lover's card, which represents choice. It also represents the sign of Gemini. We have the transformational butterfly, and then we have Mystique coming out of the dark and into the light. This has always been this song from Gloria Estefan's song from Gloria Estefan. She was in a bus accident years ago, and it was a song she wrote after she thought she was paralyzed. So I really feel like as you do this contemplation about everybody's flawed and what kind of flaws can I live with and what can I not live with, you have an opportunity to really transform your love life in a way that feels much more beautiful and much more solid and much more tangible, not sort of something that might evaporate. In the angel's advice, we have the King of Swords, we have Daniel, the angel of marriage, and we have the communications card. And I really think that that King of Swords is representing the highest vibration of authority within my intellect, being able to communicate clearly and being aware of my history, but not driven by my history. I've come to some sort of conclusion that has made my history, or they're telling me that I need to come to some sort of conclusion where my history works for me so that I can transform it and see the benefit of what I have perceived as loss in the past. Because we have the Empress, we have Akasha, the teacher, and then we have the harmonious wealth card. This is an opportunity not only for you to, because the Empress is everything. The Empress rules Venus, Akasha is the spiritual teacher, and there's the harmonious wealth. I say this because I don't think you're going to teach anybody with words. I think they'll learn through experience. It's almost as if those of you that picked angel reading number 2, as you went through the hard work, the true analysis of looking about each one of your options and knowing that each one has a good and bad, an opportunity and an obstacle. And when you know that it's important for you to really look at these, not in a way of blaming, but in a way of co-creating and transforming, then you really have an opportunity to sit in such a relationship that is so complementary and aligned that others will be inspired, which is why I believe Akasha, the teacher, has come up here. And the harmonious wealth card comes because Venus trusts her bounty in the material world because she's gone in there with her eyes wide open. And I want to offer this too, because when we realize that we're all flawed human beings, and rather than looking to someone else to start the journey of vulnerability, I think when we're willing to be brave and not really asking for validation, but being willing to talk about our experience in sort of this way that's of ownership, it allows somebody else to feel the pressure off, and then they're able to emote and be more transparent and authentic about what's going on in their heart and head. Okay, let's go on to angel reading number 3. And our final angel reading for this Valentine's Day 2022. This is angel reading number 3. Focused specifically on your love life. This is for Valentine's Day. You pose the question and then you let your intuition lead you to the answer. All right, let's see what this final third reading. I don't know if you can hear that annoying beeping. The trash man here for like the 3rd time this week. So nice. Okay, here we go. In the foundational position, we have the Chariot. We have the King and we have Athena. In the foundational position, Spirit is saying it's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself. And this is very much about lovingly asserting yourself. And the King for me is will represent male authority, men in general. So it could be that there's this, you're going to assert yourself towards a male, but I want to offer it this way because again, the key word about Athena is a lovingness. She has her arms open and, you know, she's not, there's still a little trepidation in her energy, but I feel like this is also reveals her vulnerability as she goes into a place where she's trying to create justice, where she's trying to be fair, where she's trying to really uphold an energy. And then we see the Chariot. The Chariot rules Cancer. We can see the moons on his shoulders and the stars. It rules duality. It rules balance in some ways. It rules home and hearth. It also rules movement without movement. So there very much can be movement without visually seeing movement. So this is again where I kind of go back to the beginning of the video and say, what kind of stories do you tell yourself when somebody doesn't call you? Because if you don't tell yourself bad stories, you may find out very quickly that this had nothing to do with you. But if you're the type of person that starts to get angry because you feel like, okay, I'm being ghosted, and then you start telling yourself that story that only insecurity and the ego run amok can really tell so well, then you start to villainize somebody and you don't even know if they're really the true villain. So I want to offer it this way. I think this loving assertion is to actually sit and be in this action, no action. allowing something. See how the king is sitting here, allowing justice in some ways to come to him. And he's not holding his sword up this time. He's holding it almost like it's a staff, like it is part of how he rules, with a clear, calm head. Both characters. So lovingly asserting yourself into an opportunity to change potentially your thought process, to go to a deeper place. Because in the opportunity or the obstacle, we see the Lover's card again. We had that in reading number 2. We see the Fire Fairy, which represents optimistic energy. And we see Seraphim saying there's a happy change coming to your family. Now, I'm going to kind of go back to the idea of this romantic movie. I can't help but thinking of this one movie in particular called Serendipity. I think John Cusack was in it. And he meets this girl randomly in New York somewhere at some like ice cream or chocolate place. And, you know, the attraction is kismet, blah, blah, blah. And she's engaged, right? And the whole movie is like all about serendipity. And serendipity, a series of unfortunate coincidences that bring two people together. So the whole time it looked like nothing was going to happen. These people were never going to get together, action with no action. So now it's time. The action is to choose optimism, to choose to think that good things are happening and not assigning it to one human being, but to a general concept. Because in the angel's advice, we have the 6 of Pentacles, which represents the have and the have not. It also represents cardinal earth, which is Capricorn. So there could very much be where you've experienced being have not enough, where it's going to take everything in your power not to go into fear. And then Sonia represents your guides and your loved ones. So what if there are people watching over you? What if there are angels in heaven that are actually asking you to be gentle with yourself as you unravel a new story, that you actually will be chosen this time? And maybe it doesn't look like you're being chosen yet, or maybe you'll do the choosing, but maybe that's still happening. Let's see what happens in the final position. Well, we have, this is very interesting to me because here's Caressa indicating the end of a chapter and that new happiness awaits. There is the frog representing the move from one lily pad to another, the cleaning up of emotional baggage, the cleaning of my house, of my mind. And then we have the indecision cleaned up. So I want to offer it this way. For those of you that picked angel reading number 3, well, I'm not getting a yay or a nay as to whether or not this relationship is actually moving forward. I'm feeling this is for single people. If for some reason you're in a seasoned relationship and you're having challenges, something is going to be, a conclusion will be drawn. The loving assertion in some ways. And again, that is not always talking. Assertion sometimes is your thought process and how you're choosing to think about the situation when you don't know what's going on, because that might speak volumes to the other person, and just the benefit of the doubt can be the thing that tips things in your favor. Okay, that's it for me today. Again, today is February 9th. This is going to be valid through the month of February for your love life. And specifically, I was focusing on Valentine's Day this year. I will be back on on Sunday, this coming Sunday, and every Sunday I live stream readings by astrological rising sign, moon, and sun at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I hope you'll join. It's a wonderful group in the chat. And hit that like button, share, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the little bell so you'll know when new content comes out, because we're hatching things, me, myself, and I, and all my committee up here. Okay, thanks everybody. This is me, Teri Hunter. If you'd like a book or reading with me, my information is below. Have a wonderful Valentine's Day, and be careful on Super Bowl Sunday. If you're here in the United States, I say that only because, you know, it's a big party day. All right, everybody. See you on Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific. Bye-bye.